Yeah, we're going to be talking about
Two beautiful
our
records.
Boulevard remix,
Yes.
and we're going to be talking about Sandstorm.
Yes. So we released the Boulevard remix, I believe, last month. Last month or 2 months ago.
No, it was only like 3 weeks ago, I want to say.
Okay, yeah. I guess last month.
Yeah, it was
or
about
3 weeks ago. And then Sandstorm we released today officially. We just announced everything. It's been on platforms for I think the last 3 days, but officially today.
Yes.
And those are the two songs that we started on the PC. Or not start, but finish on the PC. I just moved to PC, which allows us to even stream as good as it is right now. So we're gonna walk you through how we made some of the bass sounds. If you guys have any specific questions, feel free to ask in the chat. We'll try to answer all of them and try to cover as much ground as possible. But just so you guys know how the songs sound like before we actually dive in, I'm gonna play you guys the Boulevard remix that we did. This is Boulevard's Drive-By. We remixed it and it came out, I'll tell you the exact date.
We actually heard Nitty Gritty play this a lot. Had a few edits of it of our own.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we heard about Boulevard, but we just...
We're stoked when you want us to remix. It's a really big, really packed remix pack. We got Quix, Yuki, Tsusoki, Carbon, and A-Craze. And we are lucky to be among the names that got the chance. So hopefully you guys can hear this. I'm going to check in a second. But this is the remix.
Cutting out really bad.
Is it?
Cutting out.
Yeah.
It's a motherfucking drive-by. Let's go.
I don't hear anything anymore.
Stanley, you can hear that?
Nope.
Well, can you guys hear that? Yeah, my bad. So as long as you guys can hear what we just played, I muted the soft music. And you figure out a way to have that sidechain, but we're gonna mostly talk about the build-up and the drums of the drop and the drop in general, the sound design. And then we're gonna talk about Sandstorm. But we just want to make sure that you guys heard what the hell we play before it starts getting a little laggy and complicated. Yeah, let's just get into it.
Are you showing the Ableton screen on the...
I'm about to.
Okay.
Alright, so here is the project. We have about 307 tracks. Obviously, I don't know if all of them are used. A lot of them are resampled, a lot of them are muted, but it might be a little laggy at first, but once it starts playing, I think it's going to start feeling a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yep.
Right, dope. Okay. So this is the drop. If you guys heard in the song we just played, we did a little fake build up here.
It's almost like a double fake.
It's a double fake, yeah. We use the original. So if you guys have heard the original, it starts out like this and then drops after the vocals, the clap, play for a second. We chose to just add another, I'm not even sure how many bars that is. Whatever this amount is. To kind of like build the energy and like do like a little switch up from the original, kind of as if it's like a VIP and you would expect the original drop.
Yeah.
I think the cool part about this is the layers the layered chords we did leading up to the actual drop over here. This is the MIDI right here for what you're going to hear from a couple instruments. Let me break this down. Let me open this up. So starting with a kick, we actually have our main kick. I believe it's this. Playing 4 times. We have a layer on top of that. If you guys have your headphones on, you can hear that adds a little bit more grit to the kick. We have this is a hardstyle kick. Descending. We have a serum bass, just a sine wave. We have this violin. Kind of out of key, but it kind of gives it more character. This old rave stab.
Rave stabs.
Rave stabs. We have crashes. We have. This is a cool one. This one is a big element that adds body to it. This is from VPS Eventer. This is a preset. Let me see if I can open it up. I'm going to zoom on the Ableton a little bit more so you guys can see. Thank you, Alex. That might be a lot easier. This is max treble dense, but we did something interesting here to give it a kind of like a low quality feel because, as you can see, the rave stabs kind of sound like they're being pitched down, like as if it's a sample. We did this cool thing where we got the EQ, did a straight brick wall low pass filter, and this kind of gives it that like low quality feel. And as we pitch down chord wise, we move it down so it sounds as if the quality of the synth loses its sheen. It's kind of essentially just getting shittier. Give it that like sample feel. And then we have this alarm. Low but add suspense. We have another VPS Avenger doing, I think it's strings. Piano. Same deal here with the EQ. We have some brass. More cymbals. Then a alarm build up from Animal House.
Yeah.
With the classic Virtual Riot. Just a little edited. Company.
This isn't too different from how we do like general chord stacks either. Like it's obviously a little different just depending on the effect that we're trying to do here, but for chord stacks, it's just there's a lot of layers to give it kind of like character.
Of course, we wanted this to be epic, and usually to give it that epic feel, we need to make sure the whole spectrum is filled. That's why we layering with different brass samples, rave stabs, chords, alarms, just gives it like a lot of chaos in the right way. So then all together, then you can hear this little like, or is it? I got this Rude Boy sample.
Bad girl, bad man.
Oh, and these A's. It's a lot of energy. And then a reverse kick. Getting into the kick, and I said this little thing right here. I think this is me. This might be me. Then I have bass.
Bass. Bass.
That's me. I just pitched it down.
Bass.
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 And just a lot of OTT here to just give it some more life.
Bass.
Sorry if it's a little slow. I'm going to make sure that when I do break down the synths, they're a little bit less slow. But starting from the first drop, usually how we go about making sounds is we opt for more basic shapes. For example, Sawtooth's sine waves, distortions on the sine waves to give it some more grit. Like our song Bittersweet is just 2 sine waves on top of each other, but what gives it extra like tonality is just making sure that they're 2 different keys and just distorted to bring out like the tonal
distorted and then heavily processed. A lot of the stuff we like to do for leads, I would say specifically for leads is like, generally basic shapes and or like FMing from basic shapes. And then
basic shapes are a lot more clean. Tons of processing. First, this is the first. Not much to it. I think what gives it the sound, its main like tone is the sync on the Sawtooth. Start to disable that. That's pretty dope, honestly. But yeah, we have something a little higher. We have that. Then we have a little higher layer that's up 3. I don't know music theory that well, but I'm going to assume that's I want to say that's the 3rd. Not the 5th. I believe it's either the 3rd or the 5th. But we have that doing a unison, giving it that like spacey detune field because the random knob is down, so they all start from the same place but kind of detune as time goes by, as opposed to it's very Skrillexy. Then just an OTT on that, some saturation, and then dimension expander to give it some more width, and then a couple more OTTs, and the EQ just to boost the middle because we feel like it was lacking in the middle signal. On top of that, we have this Cashmere sample, the Go, and I believe that's it for the first hit. And then after that, we have on the offbeat, it's a regular bass stab. Nothing crazy. A lot of it's just like a Sawtooth. And then what gives it that resonance is the resonator that we put in the key. On top of that, it's a laser. Yeah. So Alex asked how we usually create music without much proper knowledge on music theory. A lot of it is intuition. I do know some basic music theory, although I can't actually like play piano. I know what sounds right, what sounds wrong, and there's some early signs and patterns to know like how things should be formatted. I know that the drop isn't per se very melodic. It's kind of monotonous because we have like one bass
atonal. I mean, for a lot of the atonal bass stuff, it's almost always just like a little pitch bend or like maybe a 1 or a 2 or a 3 depending on the key, or I guess it depends on if it's going up or down. But and then like with chords, you know, if for those out there that don't know, it's usually like 1 and then either 3 and 4 and 7 for like a basic diatonic. And you know, a lot of it just comes down to like some of those little math equations. But I think for both Ari and I, at this point, you know, it's definitely just developing your ear and kind of like understanding what it is. There's also like great plugins like Scalar and stuff like that can help you build chord progressions and just kind of even if you're doing stuff like we just started making stuff in like blues scales and stuff like just like outside of the standard, you know, standard major and minor, like to get more interesting, more creative sounds, and just playing with those and kind of just like Arya said, like building.
There are no right answers.
Building the intuition, but
intuition is usually
it does take a lot of time and just ear development, I would say.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to try things. A lot of our chords are experimental. We try to figure it out as we go along sometimes, but we know like that for each chord there's like a bass note. We know what complements each other. Just whatever sounds right. Just don't be afraid. You don't need to know the craziest music theory to like get out there and try making chord progressions. This might take a little longer. Okay, so then as we continue down the drop, the main sound is this. Might be lagging a little bit. Okay, let me also answer some other questions. Sorry, guys. We want to make sure that we get everything. Someone asked that they love to see our master. We'll show you guys our master a little bit near the end of this project. Just want to make sure that we go into the details first. We're going to show you guys the low, mid, gritty bass part right now, and we don't do band pass. We make sure that we cut different elements, different basses to make room for a sub or a kick. We're going to get into that in just a little second. And usually when it comes to referencing, we usually like to reference the later parts to make sure that we have like enough energy. Or if we're mixing and mastering, we usually take our favorite, the Zomboid or Virtual Riot track, and we put it alongside to make sure.
Another really cool tip is to even use I use 2 different reference tracks, and one's not really a reference, but I just use whatever in like the key that I'm in as a song build up, and then when it drops, you have that energy. Like from a professional sounding build up, you have that energy, and then it helps to be able to, it just helps mentally going into it to be able to like try and match that energy from someone else's build up, and then obviously you create your own build up from there. But that's a really good starting place, I think, when you're just trying to build a drop from the get go, and that definitely helps.
I just got so many mosquito bites, and I just killed them.
Yeah, I got a bunch of bites on my foot last night.
Right now, okay. So yeah, this lead, again, don't be too surprised. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's a sound wave. Straight up a sound wave. Of course, that grit comes from the distortion. But it's a sound wave with white noise. We have a very short envelope on the actual gain. And then we have this little plucky envelope for the sync and the level of the white noise. A lot of this isn't like just things we know off the top of our head. We just kind of play around with it, and I think we played around with the sound to get to a certain point, and in order to do that, it was just a combination of white noise and a sound wave.
The notch filter has been something that we've been fucking with too, because you can actually, for certain sounds, use the notch as like an addition to the key that you want to achieve. So you'll have like a bass key, and then when you move the notch, you'll have like a resonance in another key, so you can add almost like a melody with that kind of thing.
So with that in mind, we have this really strong resonated high pass, and it's moving. I know that there's one that's moving it. Okay, yeah, we have this doing its own thing, mimicking, it's the same envelope as the volume. Also, we have a small one that's just going upwards. That's at a slower rate, so it gives that starts here, ends here. Gives a little bit more pitch and some more dynamic. It's not just one sound, it's like changing between the first and the second and the first and the second. We have some delay, reverb, nothing crazy. I think where it shines the most is the amount of OTTs we use. We use 3 OTTs in a row, each, I would say, 30%, just to make sure that's very compressed, that we make sure that you can hear all the different artifacts that come out of the sound, because the artifacts are honestly where it's at. Top of that, a good basic rule of thumb trick to get things wide is we just use Ozone Imager Sterilize. We keep it at 1, and we just give it a little bit of width. We're not entirely sure how it works. I know that it does preserve the mono signal, and you want to make sure that when you make things wide, that the mono signal still sounds good. It doesn't only sound good in stereo. So this is just a basic plugin we use. It's free. You guys should definitely copy it if you guys haven't had the chance to already.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer in every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Already, but it preserves the mono signal, keeps it strong while adding width. After that, we have a couple of EQs, just giving it some brightness, killing a little bit of the lows, a little bit of the around 3K. You guys watch any Virtual Riot live streams, you know he hates 3K. It's a horrible frequency. And we also gave it a little bit of love at 800 hertz, because I think that's where the I guess you would call it not a notch filter, but a peak filter, the one that we have on the high pass. I think we want to accentuate this little. So I don't even know what to call it, 800 hertz caw of the sound. And then yeah, MSCD. This is also a great plugin. We learned this from Oliverse. And something we actually put on all of our basses. It's basically volume for the middle signal and volume for the side signal. So we just wanted some more mids on that, so we raised the mids, kept the sides the same. Good way to make sure that if you want to make your sound louder, that if it's already loud in the stereo, you can like focus in on one, on the mids, as opposed to just the side. On top of that, we have a guitar, very low, and that kind of mimics the same pattern. We have this little gun. That is a gun, right? Yeah, like a reloaded gun chop, kind of cut up in the same exact. You call that eighth notes? Gives a little bit more texture on top. Gives us some more like weight. And that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure for this layer. Okay, so that's the main bass sound. I know someone asked that. Just some general things.
Show them that. Show them the resonator on that one track.
On which one?
On
the okay.
The Ableton resonator.
The resonator on which one? On the okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, we always like to make sure that we add vocals and like little parts. Just so we can keep the song feeling alive, you know, like when there's so many bass sounds and not enough like human elements in the song, it gets kind of like repetitive, doesn't feel like a song, feels like a robot made it. At least that's my philosophy. I like to have like little haze, shouts, short phrases. We use this okay for one of our other songs. It's a splice, but I'm pretty sure it's Mark Johns. Great vocal pack. You guys should definitely get that too. We use this in our song Gunmetal. She's just saying okay. This is without any of the effects. Let me make sure.
Okay.
So basic okay.
Okay.
But to give it some more melody, we use a resonator, put it in the same key as the song, which is F, and well, you can copy the settings, but it's +3, +3, +7. You could usually to get in the minor scale, it's what works is +3, +5, +7, just any odd number. I usually don't opt for the 5s. I like the 3s and the 7s.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Gives us some nice melody, which is nice whenever you have one boom, boom, boom. And hell yeah, Jeffrey. Jeffrey likes our splice pack.
We have another splice sample pack on the way. It's going to be much bigger.
It's going to be much bigger, much nicer. Lots of bass sounds. We'll keep you guys updated on socials whenever we actually do that, though. That is on the way. So just some general things to make your dubstep drop feel a lot more rich is to add some cymbals, percussion, layers behind the actual basses, so that it just doesn't sound like too dry. Because a lot of these bass sounds, as you can just, if we just solo the bass group, they're pretty dry sounding. Everything around it, rich with lots of different sonic elements. On the one, we actually also have a brass on top. We didn't put it in the bass group, so we had more control over it. In the key of the song, this is a Cymax chord shot. We use this for Game Over, but it's only on the sides to give some more sad love. A triangle. This is pretty audible, honestly. We have a company hi-hat loop. Pretty low. We have some more. We have a Virtual Riot hi-hat. On the ones, I made this little hi-hat, little white noise hi-hat that's also on the ones. Xylent. Our Pixel Tear Crash from our sample pack. This is a nice little trick that I noticed that Sultan does. He puts a clap on the upbeat. That's also there. Let me put a metronome so you guys hear where it is. Or is that on the snare? Oh, maybe on the snare actually, but it's being sidechained. And then that's really interesting. I didn't even know I put this in here. This is straight up just like straight up like Foley, just being really quick hi-hat Foley. And then on top of that, more Foley. A hey. And a Christmas crash. So I think what we're trying to drive home here is that you shouldn't depend on one sound to be your source of everything. Energy comes from the layers. You want, you don't want to just listen to one element. You want to give power through multiple layers of whatever the rhythm of the song is. Just you need to care about the supporting details, and that's kind of what we try to do with all of our drops. Alex asks, what's a production related breakthrough moment for you guys? Discovering OTT. No, I'm going to say we reuse OTT a lot. We use it a lot. Maybe a little bit too much. But maybe a production related breakthrough that I had was honestly, the idea that layering, I always depended on like everything. I wanted things to sound good straight out of Serum. I didn't really care about post-processing. I didn't care about what was below it. I just thought that one bass sound can fill up my whole entire spectrum. And I was scared, like I don't want things to clash. I didn't know what would sound good together. Like I would like notice that people would layer, but I'd be like, okay, how did they even come up with this in the first place?
Yeah.
But then as I kind of like started diving into dubstep more, I noticed that I wanted certain things filled in the moment, and I made production decisions just to like achieve a certain goal. So sometimes, for example, when I look at this project, I'm like, wow, these are a lot of layers. Like, how did I even come up with this? When in reality, I was probably trying to, fill the sides a little bit more or hit a different frequency. And like, that's something you have to consider. You shouldn't just like ask yourself like, oh, how do I make this fatter? How do I get these to sound louder? Sometimes it's as simple as just like putting something else behind it or in front of it. Someone asked.
Oh yeah, for new people, OTT is over the top compression, and Ableton has its own. Also, the company that makes Serum Xfer has its own that's free. You can get it from the Xfer site, and it's
if you use FL Studio, you can use the OTT from Xfer. Yeah,
and it's a little more easy to use just from like a visual standpoint. Like it's like 3 knobs. You can adjust the bands as well, but it's just a little more simplified than Ableton's. But yeah, it adds a lot of color, and if you start basically I guess that goes to my sort of breakthrough. 2 things kind of. One is just to like really trust your gut, and when you think you've made a good sound, chances are you might have, but you just have to like sort of carve it out a little bit, and that takes EQing and saturating, and then you can do a lot of things and then compress using OTT or even just simple compression, and then do more. So every time you're compressing, you're bringing the threshold of the sound together so that the sounds that you couldn't technically hear as well are louder, and the stuff that's louder is a little quieter. So you're kind of like
it basically balances. If there's a lot of dynamics, if there's something that's loud in your sound, something low in your sound,
out the total dynamics, and you can continue doing that. So that was the biggest thing for me, was that like, it's basically like a cycle. Like you can add a whole chain, compress that. I mean, at some point you might start to lose dynamics and things will just sound really washed out. So you want to be careful of that, but you'd be amazed at like how much you can saturate some things and just get a really clean sound, and then compress it and then do some other shit to it. And that's how we kind of go about building our individual sounds and whatnot.
Someone said not compressed, not impressed.
Yeah.
Someone also asked what we're using for our sub bass. Sub bass is very important to make anything bang, I guess, if that's the way to say it. We usually like just a basic sine wave with a little bit of like a pitch envelope, just to give it like a little bit of punch, almost like an 808. If you guys have headphones, you guys can hear this. But basically what's happening here, I'll just duplicate this so I can like edit it. Using multiple OTTs help in the sense that we like to, if you have a sound that seems a little bit dry, weak, it does well in bringing out, it does well in like, I'm not gonna say level it, but like compress it. And with dubstep especially, you have to make your sounds loud and in your face. I know that's like the one thing that people say all the time, but like multiple OTTs bring out the artifacts in like like literally an absurd way that works in a sense. Of course, do it with precaution. Don't try to like OTT the hell out of it, but like you can save a sound with OTT sometimes. So yeah, we use a sine wave with a pinch envelope. Just basically, I want to make sure that you guys can hear what exactly I'm messing around with. If I were to take, okay, it might be on this. If I were to take this envelope's on Master Tune, by the way. We're using just a sine from, it says far, but this is like the sub oscillator. Basically, just to make it a little more exaggerated. Let me take out the, hear that? A little bit shorter. Kind of like a kick almost. We put some saturation on that. This is literally the equivalent of just doing a low pass. I remember Nasco doing this. Pandias showed us this. But basically just cutting everything in the middle. Even cutting on top really doesn't matter. And then just more saturation. You don't want to saturate too much though, because you do want some sub more than low mid harmonics, because you want the bass to shine. Also a good thing, make sure that all your basses sit nicely and are of even level. We like to also put OTT on the bass group. We have this little reverb thing, doing reverb throws at the end of each measure. Kind of like a reverse verb. Then we cut the lows. We put it into this little enhanced preset that I kind of copied from a Nasco stream, but it's kind of like OTT. That's on 30% and OTT is on 17%. We usually have Soothe on, but I don't want to turn on because it's going to lag the project even more. But Soothe is a great plugin. It's from Oak Sound. This is the second version. It is about, I updated from original Soothe to Soothe 2. I think it was 150 euros. It might be around 200 euros to buy this, but it does wonders if you have a lot of resonated basses. It's weird. It's a weird plugin to explain, but it basically uses an algorithm to make sure that sharp frequencies get suppressed. This is what's being taken out from the subgroup. It's a nice little cleanup plugin, and it basically, wherever you boost, focuses more on cleaning that area. You're basically seeing what it's doing. It's not, but it looks like an EQ. It's not an EQ. It's more like a multi-band compressor with smart multi-band compressor. Some more subtle EQing just to cut the lows, because once you put OTT, some low-end artifacts come out, and then an invisible limiter, rate limiter. I think we prefer it more than the ozone maximizer. You can get things loud without clipping too much. It's kind of like in between a maximizer and brick wall limiter, but does a lot better. Very similar to Gullfoss. Yeah, I haven't used Gullfoss. I just know that, I don't know, for some reason I got on the Soothe 2 train. Me and Bentley both. Let me see, you guys are asking.
I think I still only have Soothe. I need to get Soothe 2.
Yeah, you Soothe. So Zach asked, do we prefer additive or subtractive EQ to fine tune? Usually subtractive. You don't want to. You want to. Well, it depends on the purpose. I want to see if I can find a bass where we did some like heavy tuning. Maybe I can. Give me a moment. This. So you can see there's a little bit of both, additive and subtractive EQ. Killed some of the lows, just so we have. We're killing some of the lows on the bass group as well, but we're doing that just to make some room, make it go cleaner into the bass group. Killed a little bit of 200, the low mid. I guess there was a really sharp resonant sound at around 1.8K. There was. So that's an example of how we subtractive EQ. If something's sticking out, we typically opt for a Q3 to carve it out. Sometimes we do the I don't even know what you call it, dynamic. It's kind of like a multiband compressor, but we sometimes do that if we want to keep the sound good in there, but whenever it does come to a point where there's resonant frequency, it does the job. But just for this, we did a simple like EQ notch. And then when it comes to additive, we just wanted to make it brighter, so we boosted it around on the high shelf. And it does the job. I think OTT does a good job in making sure the sound is overcompressed and controlled somewhat, and then we kind of give it like some more sheen, a little bit of subtractive EQ to fill any frequencies we feel like are doing too much. I make sure that we answer something. You guys managed to balance all these tracks in the mix. So yeah, as I mentioned, grouping it, OTTing, even glue compression is not a bad idea either. Just when it comes to dubstep, it's a very overcompressed genre. Sound design depends a lot on things being balanced, and OTT does a good job with that. You want to make sure that everything does sound different but is controlled, and I think the OTT enhance lower amount does the trick, in addition to the soothe and the EQing, and just a limiter to just make sure things don't get too high in the peaks. How do you keep the sub pumping throughout a track? How can you make it sound powerful? I guess saturation and this little pitch envelope thing in the beginning, because you can hear the punch of it. It gives it more thump as opposed to sub. It starts it out, so you know when each sub it starts, and we kind of mimic what's being played.
It's like an attack almost.
It's basically like a transient, but for pitch.
I mean, you could technically even put transient shaper on your sub.
You can, and I've done something like that before, just with volume. Yeah. It gets kind of weird because transient shaper might not be able to understand because it's going so quickly. It's like a plugin that depends a lot on like some audible transient, but whenever things are like connected together, not biking yet. My dad just came in and wants to go on a bike ride. I'll go with him after. Let's talk about some big things that we consider whenever we construct a song in terms of like making it sound clear, because I know you guys want to learn a little bit more about how to get things to sound clear, less muddy. I'm sure everyone knows what sidechaining is. We have two separate sidechains for this song. So we have one for the kick, one for the snare. For the kick, for both of these we use Shaperbox, by the way. We actually want to make a video on how to sidechain like 5 separate ways, and this is kind of how Barely Alive, Virtual Riot, Nasco, a lot of the big guys use Shaperbox. But basically what it is you trigger it. You trigger the sidechain to turn on using, it's not a ghost kick, but it's a MIDI trigger. So every single time this turns on, every single time a MIDI note plays, this begins and it does a dip and comes back up. Yeah, we'll make a sidechain video. We'll make sure it's very thorough too. But basically what's happening here is this sidechain, a cool thing, the sidechain is breaking up the signals into a low and a mid. You can also do a high one, but I think it's only necessary to focus on the low. So for the kick, we have this shape, so the volume dips and comes back up. But then for the low, sidechain oscillator. I don't know. I've never really explained this stuff out loud, so my bad if it's not coming out too clear. But for the low, we have a longer one just to make room for the sub of the kick. A good way to check this is if you guys have the plugin Smexoscope. Maybe I have it on the master. Yes. Smexoscope, great plugin also. Highly recommend this if you guys want to see the waveform in real time. But basically,
yeah,
what's happening...
the trick is to put it on multiple tracks so you can compare. So if you put it on like your sub, then you can see where your sub's coming right after your kick. You put it on your kick, and then you put it on your master to see how it looks all together.
So I'm gonna low pass the whole entire song. So you guys can see. I don't know how big that is on screen, but if you guys can see, this is the kick right here, and there's the sub following after. So the kick itself has a good amount of sub, and we don't want the sub of the kick to clash with the sub bass we have under the actual mid basses, the ones that I showed you guys earlier. So in order to make sure that they play nice together and don't overlap, while still not making it too crazy of a sidechain, because if you have too long of a sidechain, things start getting a little weird. You want to make it sound natural as opposed to artificial when it ducks. So we split into two. We make the sub come back a little later and give it room for the kick to breathe in the lower region, while having the top, everything above 134 sidechaining at a quicker rate, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Basically, the low end is being sidechained, has a longer sidechain than everything above. But we do that through the Shaperbox plugin. It separates it into two, which is awesome, actually. Otherwise, we'd probably make like a whole separate sidechain for the sub, which isn't a bad idea. It's just, I feel like this is the best way, most CPU efficient way. And then we also have one that's just the snare. The snare doesn't have any sub, so we just have it completely ducking the signal at a shorter rate. And yeah, those are the two sidechains. And another nice thing, Virtual Riot taught us this in one of his live streams, is you see this little small steep slant where it finally ducks down to 0. It doesn't immediately. There's like a little bit of like a small, less than a hundredth of a millisecond for it to go down to 0 dB. If you ever turn off like a speaker or something, I'm sure you guys hear the click. Usually whenever it's like a square wave. Whenever a signal suddenly goes down to 0 dB, clicks come. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's just like a sudden change in waveform. In order to make sure that the transient of the kick has room to breathe also, I really need to write this stuff down. We like to go to this section in Ableton, which is, you call this the track delay. And we like to put the sidechain trigger negative 6.2 milliseconds, right? Yeah, negative 6.2 milliseconds in the future. So it has a chance to turn on, go down to 0, and then have the transient hit there. So basically we start the sidechain right before the kick starts so that it has a chance to go down to 0 and have the kick hit. So this negative 6.2 milliseconds is 6.2 milliseconds in the future. If that makes sense. It gets a little bit weird, but these things matter for the transient to hit. You want your kicks and snares to be audible, and you want the transients.
If you show them how, like on a sample or something, if you do the one way on the sample on beats, you can actually listen for transients. So you can even do that.
I could kind of show you guys too how it would be.
Yeah, like show on a.
I'm just gonna turn the sidechain and the kick and the snare on.
Show on like a sample or something.
It's gonna be too slow to do that, but I can show you guys on Exoscope. Make it louder so you guys can see this. I'm gonna put this like negative 20 in the future so you guys can see. You see that little? Yeah, this gets really, really too much. If I put this like a negative 25. Negative 25. space before the kick. Very intense, but when you make it more natural, like -6.2, -7, you guys play around with it. It definitely makes a difference in having your kick and snare transients come through because it has a chance to breathe, basically.
Exactly.
All right, that has been 45 minutes. I think you guys want to see the other song, so let's.
Did you show them like the whole lead group?
I showed the bass group.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah.
That bass group is just a couple OTTs, EQing, and then a limiter.
Yeah. With that being said, I mean, we've kind of gotten to the point where most of the mixing and processing is going almost into like individual sounds. I mean, every channel we have is pretty much EQ'd, from like the hats to whatever. So like we're speeding up the process of like what you would consider the mixing stage at the end. Mm-hmm. And another thing that I tell that I tell people is shit, I forgot.
Got this, Bentley.
Yeah, don't automate individual channels because it's kind of like a rookie mistake, but when you automate the volume of your track channels, then it makes it really difficult for what you would call like the gain staging process. Mm-hmm. But if you're like mixing and doing all these things as you go, then at the very end, like even your from your bass groups specifically to even your master, like you don't even need too much. I mean, I've seen some artists recently in particular say that they have like maybe one thing on their master. Like the mix is like all
mix is a lot more important
individually, and then the master is just like the cherry on top. And yeah, I think I forgot who it was, but it was some artists did like a stream where they just literally only had a Fab Pro L, like a limiter at the end on their master. Like that was
Can't believe it. I know Joyride does it. Joyride, yeah. A couple other artists. Perfect mix is a lot better than like a bad mix and a good master. And also, we'll show you guys how we process drums and cymbals in the Sandstorm project. If you guys haven't heard it, let's play preview of like both drops.
Yep.
This just came out today, guys.
Can't hear shit.
Yeah, I think it's playing that way. Well, I'm sure you guys have heard this song before. But we did a cover of it, and I'm going to show you guys both drops because I don't want to waste any. This is basically just a recreation of the original until the drops. So this is the first drop. Let me open up the second drop.
It's called Sandstorm.
I think you guys get the picture.
Yeah.
Two different drops, 2 different BPMs. I don't know if we can go through. Should we go through? We can go through both, but if you guys want to like listen to the dubstep one or the Complextro one.
Yeah, we got time.
Got time. We got 45 minutes.
I need to see the Ableton though.
Yeah. Let me. Fuck. Yeah, dude, we really want to play this live. Just gotta wait. We gotta be patient. Another great thing, small little detail, but definitely very helpful on our end, is putting these little time signature locator markers, just so we can know where everything is. I know I used to struggle personally a lot by like when I would make like a loop, I didn't know how to turn a loop into like a whole entire song. So in order to do that, we typically like to just like talk about what section is what before we even start it, kind of to like build out like an outline, skeleton of the project, so we know what comes next. So if you guys ever have a problem formatting your songs,
it's kind of like a little bit of a checklist too, because when you finish
1,000%.
one section, you can. I mean, anything small and like meticulous and kind of like checklisty that you can do to just sort of help you get through each little process is very important.
It's a nice trick.
But yeah, I'll start because I just want to talk about the
lead, man.
The lead and the intro real quick. But
you're talking about this one?
Yeah, just like the beginning. I mean, the lead kind of goes a little bit throughout. I
not that one.
Yeah, I really I really just want to when we started this, I just really wanted to make it as close to the original as possible. So I was able to I took a bunch of TR 303 samples and like tried to find really old drums for the intro just to make it sound as authentic as possible, and even like some of the effects stuff I think were just like old school shits. Like I just snagged a bunch of Hellbound's. Hellbound has a bunch of really like dope old school techno samples and shit. And then for the lead, I was kind of just trying to figure it out from scratch. I googled to see if there was anything out there on like what he made it using. I think there was something that literally pointed out the exact synthesizer and the exact preset on that synthesizer, but I was like, I don't want to do that. So I just kind of tinkered around. I was like, it kind of sounds like a square, but it's definitely not a square. Maybe it's like something in between. And then I just fucked around with the sync on a sine wave and added some of the distortion. And I guess when you add distortion to something like a basic shape, like a sine wave, it kind of adds a little bit of like maybe a different. You're essentially by creating distortion, you're adding to that waveform. So you could be turning a sine into something a little more square, or you could be turning a saw into something a little more like soft. So yeah, that was and then yeah, like I don't do the filter, the German LP filter.
How the hell did you do this?
I don't know. Yeah. I tried to do it.
I have no idea how you did this on.
I mean, I figured that it was pretty basic, just because it's such an old sound that I was like, I didn't think I needed to do too much. I just kind of did everything by ear. But the German LP was just something that I stumbled across. I went through every filter on that little section until I just tested a bunch of this stuff out just to see if I could give it a little more like texture. And then yeah, I mean, I think we both beefed up the chain quite a bit just to give it like some modern
flair.
Just make it pop a little bit more. And yeah, beef rack goes a long way. Honestly, just throwing beef rack or some kind of there's all kinds of like saturation and just, I don't know. I mean, that's the best way to put it. Beef rack.
OTT and saturation.
There's a lot of different ones out there. I thought I might have put the Mega Rack on here, but I just made one called the Mega Rack. That's basically like,
I didn't know that.
I think it's a spin-off of yours, but it's like 6 OTTs, 2 saturators, and a disperser.
I love disperser, guys.
Yeah. Also, saturator soft clip is what I meant when I was talking about like compressing and everything earlier. When you put the saturator soft clip on, you're maintaining a lot of the dynamics, but it almost acts as a limiter at the same time. So that is where you can like you put the soft clip on, and then you can continue to build. So you're not actually clipping. And you're maintaining a lot of like the quality of your sound. So that's something that I think we haven't really touched on too. I don't know. Did you say something about that? I can't remember.
No, I usually don't do that much saturation, but I try to now because I know it makes things louder. Alex asked, a lot of producers make music that wouldn't translate that well live because it has long sections without rhythm, extended intros. Can you touch on how you have the audiences, DJs in mind to a certain degree when producing?
Yeah, drums.
No, well, there's a couple different ways to go about it. For mix and mastering wise, we usually, we are DJs ourselves, so we usually like to reference, when it comes to mix and mastering, songs that we've played live that we feel like have good energy, whether it be because the drums are in a good key, or there's a lot of good stereo, or it's just compressed or just like balanced in the right way. When it comes to references, we typically go to Zomboy, Virtual Riot, Space Laces. Those are the people that we feel like have the craziest Sultan. Those guys have gotten their masters down. That's a great way we can reference them for both formats and for mastering, mostly mastering. I'm just like what you guys are saying. But like in general, you guys want to make sure that things are. We don't want to stunt we don't want to put you in a hole when we say this, but like sections of 4 is the magic number. You want to make sure that your drop comes in hopefully before the first minute of the song. From a song listener's perspective, because you want to make sure that things are moving. Each section should be a little different than the next. Long DJ outros are kind of outdated. As long as it's easy to drop in and the DJ in question is a good DJ, there's no need for like a long intro. But yeah, usually the way it goes is breakdown, second breakdown, or a build and then a drop, and then some type of wind down or some type of breakdown. The way we have it here is we introduce the whole entire song, kind of like the original, and then we have it go into a big build and then to a drop that has the thing is I don't even know what to call a section, but it has 2 parts to the 2 or 4, however you divide it. And then we have another breakdown that kind of mimics the first one, but then we give it enough time to speed up.
Yeah, it was Ari's idea to change the melody too, which I think really surprised a lot.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
There's a lot of people on the original take of the drop, and I think it's just really sick.
For the first drop, I don't think we could dive into every single sound, but I want to dive into a couple of staple sounds, some cool elements that we feel like give it like some nice sauce and some nice flavor. If you guys want to hear everything without the lead, this is the bass group. And there are things on top of that too. Like we have this nice little.
Oh, what up? Oh man, thank you. Did you already miss Oscar? I'm doing a live stream right now.
Oh, okay. Last one I brought some food too.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah.
How long is a too long intro? Obviously it depends on the genre and the tempo of the track. But you don't want to make it too long. You want to basically, there's so many songs out there, you want to make sure that you grab the listener's attention as quickly as possible, because a long intro can get pretty boring.
Something that we do a lot, even in dubstep too, is like those gritty like mid saws. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do them too. Sometimes it's just like an upper sub layer kind of thing. Sometimes like, I mean, Nasco talks about it too with his like ultra sub sort of thing, but that really fills in a lot of space, and you can do it interestingly. And in this case, it also adds like a certain rhythm to the Complextro style. It's kind of it's kind of a cop out a little bit, just because it's like it works so well. But I mean, if it works, it works. So yeah, that little mid saw, that gritty little
bit mid song. I mean, if it works, it works. You're right. It's not playing the main role, playing a support role, and it definitely does the job.
Exactly.
Where is that Sawtooth? You guys underestimate. Basses are very important. This is a Sawtooth bass.
Yeah, you can also add. No, it wasn't Panda Eyes. It was Oscar just moved back to Switzerland today. But what was I gonna say? Oh, there's a number of ways to do it. I mean, when it comes to saws and sawtooths, you can also like add voices too. That actually just kind of changes the sound quite a bit as well. So many things are just like subtle changes that I've realized like create totally different fucking sounds.
Straight up. But yeah, there are a lot of different layers for this drop. The main thing is that there are these chords. We have a basic super saw, which is basically just 2 sawtooths on 16 voices. One is a little bit more detuned than the other one. Definitely nice tats.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, 2 sawtooths, 2 different octaves. The higher one is detuned a little bit more. That's with OTT and some EQing and a little bit of love on the sides. Then we have this chromophone preset. It's the Strings and Pads Sawteel 1. Did you teach how to do the custom serum skin? Someone actually made the custom serum skin for us a while back. Justin Fowler.
Yeah.
Wherever he is.
We should update.
Little sawtooth thing. But basically, these on their own sound kind of weak. So this is a perfect moment to have a supporting lower sawtooth. Give it the energy on the lower part of the sound.
Yeah.
So we have that playing constantly. Of course, we have some nice little like sparkly sounds, like this cashmere bass slide. Gives it that Madeon feel. I kind of think we were going for like the Madeon Icarus old style. On top of that, of course, is the lead doing its thing over here. Sprinkle that in a little bit to give it some more flavor from the original. And then that little this is from the Heather Cara sample pack on Splice. We've been using her vocals a lot. Basically, we just have a harmony. One is slightly right, one is almost slightly 32 on the right, 20 on the left, both auto-tuned to the key of the track, which is E minor, together. And that's still on that Madeon-esque style. You have it there too. Gives it like a nice little, as I mentioned again, when you have voices, it gives it more life. And then there we have some little glitch sounds in between. Layer on top of the bass for these.
Wait, yeah, what was that? Was that auto-tune you were using?
That was auto-tune, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Guitar's auto-tune.
You can get also, to do something similar, you can get Ozone, or Ozone's
Nectar.
Isotope's vocal doubler, which is free on theirs. And,
but that's not auto-tune though. That's a doubler.
No, but it does add like voicing, and it adds
very chorusy.
Yeah.
But just a little bass. Some of these aren't even our samples. Like this bass, this side trance bass from Kashmir, and then this little reverse. sub here. On top of these little Oliver samples. Little Oliver guitar with some erosion. This weird little, I don't even know what this is. Just layer it on top of the bass, give it some more texture on top.
Sounds like when you smack your foot on that little thing in the back of the door.
At the door, yeah. To pay some homage to Enigma, we have this little sound. It's a very old Porter Robinson, old Lazy Rich. Really simple sound to make. 2 sawtooths, one an octave down, one an octave down from C, one an octave up from C plus 7, with a pretty much a pluck, a low pass pluck. I don't think the phaser and the distortion are doing too much, but you get the little redux feel from this erosion. Then as just like a nice way to give it some stereo love, we again did the ozone imager and some EQing, just to get it to sit right underneath everything. Where do you guys? Okay, when did you guys know you were ready to roll out your branding Push Pixel Terror out? Anyone want to answer that one?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't. We really dove into it pretty quick. I mean, we had a pretty streamlined process for like our music at that point. We had done enough music together, and I think like we're both contributing enough that we were able to like create content and or music at a pretty solid rate. But we just sort of like, we actually just kept like we had a couple ideas bouncing around, and we really just dove on the Pokemon thing. I told Ari, I was like, hey, Pokemon Go is coming out in 2 weeks. We should do like a Pokemon thing, and then make it like we had discussed the idea of like some sort of like cartoon inspired brand, much like Slushy and everyone else that was kind of popping at that time. We wanted it to be different and not like a fucking food item or a animal or something like a milkshake.
It was the time of the marshmallows and the slushies.
Yeah, and yeah, Ari just dropped that was our first song that we did together, and we ended up getting it on Mad Decent. And yeah, I mean, we just kind of like created the idea really quickly. And if you go back and look at, I mean, we've updated a lot of like this stuff, but if you go back like to the beginning of our Instagram or something like that, you can definitely see how it's evolved in terms of quality of music and also quality of just like the presentation. But we had the skills we needed all sort of like in-house to be able to push things out efficiently. And I mean, not to say that that's even the best route. I mean, if you have a really strong rollout plan, if you're sitting on 10 songs and you have like art for all of them, and you have like a really cohesive idea behind it, then yeah, I mean, you're gonna have a good time.
And another thing I can add, what I like love about Pixel Terror, I know like we're part of Pixel, but what I love about Pixel Terror is that it is 110% us. We're not trying to conform. We're not trying to like fit a certain mold when it comes to a dubstep DJ. Like we aren't trying to like follow trends. We're literally just being our authentic selves, making music that we feel is authentic to ourselves. I mean, we try on lots of different genres because we like the genres and we want to try different things. We're not trying to like, we don't tell ourselves like, oh, we're dubstep DJs, we can't make house. Oh, we can't make Moombahton or anything above that, just because we have to fit into a certain dubstep, how you'd say, mold, I guess. I don't even know. But we're being ourselves throughout the process, and we're genuinely liking what we're making, and we're being like ourselves is unique enough to stand out. And if you're able to stand out, not follow what every other dubstep DJ is doing, and showcase your personality throughout every little thing you do when it comes to your project, then I think you should be 100% proud of it. and not try to like fit in. Be the DJ you are. Don't try to be someone you're not. And YouTube. And Defier. 1000%. But actually, yeah, guys, make sure you're making the music you like. Make sure you're being yourself.
Yeah, another good example of, personally, I know we've been talking and putting out different things about artists that we like lately a lot, and for me, I've said like Night Punk, Leotrix, More Kismet, or just some artists that I would name who I think creatively are pushing a lot of boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And like Night Punk's doing stuff that's like, it's just like got this weird old school sort of drum vibe to it, but using all kinds of modern sounds. And, he's been putting stuff out for a minute, and I guess finally just got his first NSD EP. But those are just good examples of people who I think, even if they've taken some time to get there, and I think personally they still have some things to work on in terms of what's going to make their brand stand out amongst everything else. Granted, the music does, but if you have the music and you have something that helps you stand out visually or as a presentation or as something that people want to pay money to go see, you've got to think as big as possible, and you do that by being different and also being yourself. And I
mean, I think even we have a long way to go, but like what we're trying to say is like, don't just be yourself. Like you are at the end of the day, like the only person that exists that's like yourself. If that's a weird, convoluted way to say you're unique. And you should be proud of that. You should be proud that you stand out as a person, and you should be able to inject your personality into the brand you're making.
Exactly.
And own it. Be proud of it.
Alex said, "How do you advise producers to go about collaborating?" We basically live to collaborate, since we're doing that.
We are collaborative.
Every song we make is a collaboration, kind of, basically. About reaching out, don't really know how to sound like Collabro.
Well,
I mean,
it's
really just I can keep it quick on that term. Just like building a relationship. I mean, we have homies that we've built. Like we have homies that we've talked a lot to, and then they'll ask us, something like, collab. Maybe just we don't feel like the sound is there yet, or maybe it's just not right. And then like, who knows, like 6 months later, homie comes back with something like super sick. I'm like, oh yeah, dope. But there's also like personal relationships, and then there's plenty of homies that just like, are strictly like keep it very music based in terms of what we're typically communicating about and whatnot. And that's fine too. I mean, we stay business. Like I have no problem like having a group conversation, or even just a conversation that's just only about music. I mean, that's what we're doing out here, and that's what we're focused on. So you don't have to like necessarily crack jokes to fucking get a song out there to us or whatever. But I mean, being personable always goes a long way, and just like, I mean, not rushing. If someone that's the other thing too. Like if like Papa Khan is a good example of someone who's just like very, very new, but his music is super sick. Like I'm like, we've been chatting. I'm going to see if he wants to work on something potentially, but if the music is good enough, then like people are going to fucking notice you. So you don't have to like kiss too much ass or, whatever to try and get a collab. Like just kind of like let it happen naturally.
Yeah. And also, try to be quick with this. As Bentley mentioned, personal relationships go a long way. I'm sure someone who's met you before or knows who you are would have a higher likelihood of accepting a collab than someone who's never met you or hasn't heard of you. So just having friends whose music you like, and collaborating from there is a great way to go about starting a collaboration. It is sometimes true that certain DJs like to collaborate with people at the same level or of equal caliber, or someone a little bit above them, kind of just to in a business sense, like create value within two different fan bases, which is fine. I know there are a lot of people that reach out to us who feel like, okay, we're both, like, for example, on the same label, whether it be Monstercat or Welcome, like maybe it could be good if we get together and collaborate just for the sake of both of our fan bases. I'm sure they'd love to hear how we sound together. And of course, personal relationship builds from there too. But whenever it comes to collaborating with people, don't look for people who are only, like who are bigger in terms of a fan base, or can like help you get bigger. Focus on people who you genuinely like at whatever stage they are in.
Exactly.
Yeah, for example, Gammer is a great example. We've met him a couple of times. We talked to him often, and we've played some shows with him, and the personal relationship was definitely there. Another big thing was the fact that we're both on Monstercat, and we feel like it's our duty to the Monstercat following to create a Gammer Pixels Era collab. And that's kind of how we started ours. Of course, we're not rushing each other, especially with everything going on. It's kind of like a weird time. But we have started something, and it all stemmed from being on the same label and being able to add value to each other and the personal relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, the homie Reese Anderson. What are the skills? I mean, yeah, I would say it just going off of the last topic, people skills, just in general. I mean, personally, I've like read a lot of books, done a lot of research on just like proper communication, business etiquette. I mean, we both have definitely understand the proper way to go about, but also selling yourself. Like, there's a lot of good books out there on just like business in general that will help you in like all areas of life. So I definitely think it's important to validate that. But then, yeah, I mean, on top of that, I would say, you almost have to be like a video editor and a designer and everything for building your brand. But
1,000%.
maybe you have the resources. Say maybe you already have a dope business that's killing it, and you have some expendable money, and you can get someone on board who can continually help you create. I mean, that's how we started with our animator Ari. When we first started, we were doing a lot of cool cartoon stuff with him for the rollouts, and just like whatever you can come up with. Like, we live in the age of social media, and like pushing out content is it's so important. And if you can't do that, then you better have like a damn creative way to get your music heard. And I mean, it's a thing where it's like there's plenty of artists who aren't putting out stuff like on a daily basis, but you've got to do whatever it takes to like get yourself heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, social media is another skill almost that like learning what you need to learn about the algorithms and like what you can do to even if you're paying for boosting your sales or getting playlisted, like you want to be doing your research and making sure that you're stretching your dollar the right way as well. So those are the things that I would say are important.
Yeah, I think, of course, production mixing is very important, but nowadays being a DJ isn't only making music. You have to push yourself. There's so much undiscovered talent out there. Like, Bentley, how many times have you heard like an amazing song from someone you've never heard of accidentally?
A lot.
Often.
Yeah.
And not everyone, digs through SoundCloud or like looks in the depths of YouTube to find dope music. Sometimes people need to have the music in front of them. So sometimes we ask ourselves, what's the point of having amazing music, amazing production, amazing mixing if no one's going to hear it? So as Bentley mentioned, marketing yourself, getting your music out there is a whole other half to the typical 2020 DJ of today. You can't just be a musician. You have to be your own manager, your own social media person, your own PR. Because what good is good music if no one knows where to find it?
Yeah. The other thing is on both of those notes is you don't necessarily have to oversaturate either. Like, you know, we've done a good job. We also, there's two of us, so we're both doing a lot of different things to bring the whole project together on a regular basis. But like, you don't necessarily have to oversaturate. I mean, if you just put out, I mean, it's hard to say, but like, you know, thinking big, you know, if you just put out 4 songs, but you found a way to just make them like get 500,000 plays, then that might be all you need. You don't necessarily need to do something every single month. But, you know, I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, you guys move really fast." You know, sometimes we just want to put out like an EP of dope bangers, and then we'll sit back and then focus on songs that are like gonna go a lot further in terms of being memorable and being something that people like will come back to, you know, a year later or whatever it is. Like that's something to think about as well.
Longer lasting music. And someone asked how to get a song signed by Monster Cat. But I think a better question would be, how do you guys go about getting a song signed to any label that you aim for? Monster Cat was definitely our first priority after we released with the different Electrostep. I think it was Electrostep Network was one of the different promo channels. We have a song on 99 Lives, and we felt like our brand and our music was really like aligned with Monster Cats. We felt like it would be a good fit, and we sent about in total like 16 demos to Monster Cat. We sent like 2 and then 4 and then 12, and all those got rejected. Maybe more than 16. But we sent a lot to Monster Cat, and I think what finally stuck with them was we understood what Monster Cat music was comprised of. Like what elements you'd find in a typical Monster Cat song, what's the Monster Cat sounds. Because especially in the EDM game, when it comes to labels, they definitely have their own distinct styles. Never Say Die, a little bit more demonic, a little bit more heavy, aggressive, rhythm. Those are the adjectives we use to describe Never Say Die. Disciple, energetic, very dubstep oriented, fun, very, very colorful bass. Similar to Rushdown, very colorful bass. They think they call it melodic rhythm. And then with Monster Cat, we knew that Monster Cat, the main descriptors were ethereal, happy, melodic, video gamey. Yeah, I said vocal.
Okay.
I mean they do collaborations with Rocket League, for crying out loud. That's the most video gamey it gets. Yeah. And with that in mind, we felt like Pixel Terror was very video gamey. Definitely very happy. We felt like we aligned, at least in some ways. So we submitted so much music, we got rejected time after time. But I think what finally helped us get a song that they thought would fit, being Contra and Machina, however you call it. Those were the first 2 releases. Was that we finally figured out what a Monster Cat song was made of, and that was happy melodic vocal cuts. Of course, we found a balance between what Monster Cat likes and what we make. But we definitely put a lot more time into Contra to making sure that it fit the style while still keeping like our main signature identity within it.
Yeah. On that note, regarding like the vocal chops, another thing I wanted to share that has been a game changer for us and something that I've showed, you know, the newer artists that I'm working with or whatever, is, well, because Chris Salinas asked, do you have any tips on arrangement and flow? You know, just the first thing real quick is definitely just don't forget to use reference tracks. Use more than one. Use several reference tracks. Use one part that you like from one, and then another one. I mean, it helps obviously if you try to keep them in key in terms of whatever you're trying to, you're trying to do musically. Obviously, even with the mixing and stuff, the same key is going to help that as well. But you may just there may just be certain elements of a particular mix down that you want to apply to yours. That doesn't necessarily always require being the same key, but that's one little thing. But the other thing is, if you, for example, take a sample that's warped actually warped or unwarped. If you have a sample, you can move a sample within its own MIDI or audio clip by holding Shift Option Command. And if you want to, I don't know if you can show them something like that, Ari, real quick, but that has been like a huge thing for a lot of reasons, especially vocal comping. That's been a game-changing little shortcut for us.
Hey, what are you talking about? I was typing out something.
Shift Option Command.
Oh, dude! Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, just I'll let you take it over. But basically, like if you spend time just doing sound design on a whole entire section, like a bar, like 4-bar or 8-bar, do like a whole Serum thing, resample it into audio, and then
I'll show you guys.
And then move stuff around. Just move stuff so that it's like in all kinds of crazy offbeat places, and you can do the same thing with like a reference track. Just like move stuff into like unique places, and it might just totally, like a lot of the times, especially when we're doing stuff like Wayfarer was probably a good example, but like or even Ultima, just like moving the sample of the Serum bass around until you find something. Many times, like we don't like, more often than not, we have no idea what we're doing until it just hits the page right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So happy accidents
are important.
Yeah.
I don't think we have that much OTT glitches sounds in this one. I really wish we had. In the Space Lacy type song we do, which isn't out yet, but it's always good to resample. Let me see what's going on. Bentley's a happy accident. Okay. let's talk about the dubstep drop. This is the second drop of the song. What? So this one, obviously, you hear the main Sandstorm lead at 150 BPM. But to give it that driving force, we did this cool little bass. I don't even know what you call it. 16 bass note sub. If you guys want to hear the Space Laces type beat or type song, it's in our Pixel Pals X mix. I think it's near the end. I'll look for a timestamp and try to post it in the group. But for this song, just to have it drive and go fast, we did a 16 beat envelope or trigger envelope, and it just constantly goes and pumps out on the levels, on the white noise, the distortion, and the doing like a low pass filter thing on the EQ. With saturation, EQing just kind of a little bit of the high end, some erosion, some stereo width above 200 something hertz, 250, 230, I believe, and another EQ to kill some more of the highs and a little bit of the 170, 150 range. That's underneath most of the drop. Oh, but maybe, hold on, is that what I think it is? No, it wasn't. But there's some glitches going on. Oh, perfect. Okay, you hear these things right here? These are OTT glitches that we put in between some sounds to give it some grit.
Did you have that? Did you have that band reject filter on that thing?
On the OTT?
On that serum you just had open?
On the blah, blah, blah? No, I don't think so.
Oh, like the Nasco's band reject thing?
No, not that one.
Oh,
I heard you talking about, but no. This isn't it's not as accentuated in this song as opposed to some other ones, but we have some OTT glitches in between some sounds. And that is literally just a line of like artifacts from Serum that we bounced out. Like if you listen to these. A bunch of random sounds. You put like crazy. You put like a lot of OTT on like a initial init preset Serum and mess around with some of the filters, but like there's like 10 OTTs on this. We just recorded it and then we kind of cut it up and put it in between things. But I remember Alex asking how we process our drums and cymbals. So I'm going to go to this part of the drop. And this is getting slow. I'm going to delete the master. Maybe that'll work. It did not work. Good. But here, I don't think we did much to the kick. Oh, actually, another awesome tip to get your kicks to sit a little nicer. Besides the disperser, which I'll talk about in a second. So if you guys use Simpler, don't use Sampler. It's far more superior. But basically, we have our kick, our main kick. I made this kick. I don't even know how I made this kick. I made this kick. We have this kick. And then we instrument rack it with the same exact sample, but the envelope on it is just really short. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's the click of the kick. So same sample, just shorter on the click, and that gives it a louder beginning transient. Overall, just gives the clicks some volume in the kicks, which makes it push through.
Isn't that gonna make it phase though?
No, if it's the same exact sample in the same exact part.
Oh.
No, it won't make it phase. If you don't, and you don't EQ it, you don't EQ these separately. It's basically just adding It's like a transient shaper. You're just adding volume to the beginning of the sample, but like with the sampler. It's fucking awesome.
Why not use transient shaper then?
Because you know how transient shaper gets kind of weird if you have too many things.
Yeah.
This is literally just the sample stacked on top of it, but I just literally put only the click on it.
Yeah.
It's not even that intense. Usually it's a lot more intense. Usually this is all the way high. It's a cool little trick. And then disperser, I don't know if you guys can hear the difference between with or without. Very small amount of disperser. It gives it a little bit more thump. Disperser is really awesome for basses, but we use a little bit, just a touch of it to give it some more body. Then soft clipper. I don't know it's doing much, but we make sure that the drums are loud enough. If you don't think your drums are loud enough, just make them louder. Then we have the snare.
And you can do that by making everything else quieter.
Boom. Snare is the same exact thing. We have our snare sample. Looks louder than it actually is. We have our snare sample. And we have it on instrument rack. The OG sample. With the OG sample again. So that one is at complete, like it plays out the whole entire sample. Then we have just a click. Together. Just loud in the beginning. We cut a little bit of the highs and soft clip again. On the upbeat, we have our favorite Hey sample. REA vocal, a little bit chorus. Let me queuing around 3K. My hats. And a little bit of the 6K. Still fit. Made this little hi-hat pattern a while ago and I resampled it for this. Again, killing it around 3.75K on the one. Not on the one, but fourth notes, I believe, or eighth notes. Just a regular white noise hi-hat. Okay. There's probably some other ones. Oh, then a little like cool little percussion. So on the master, I just deleted the master, but the master, a little secret, but I'll show you guys some of it and show you guys what each thing does. This might slow down the project.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
So let me show you. So this is the long-awaited Drape Master 1.5. I think Bentley's on like 1.2. Raw Master. Basically, I put some macro, map to macro. Not that important, the macros, but basically what happens is we have an EQ cutting the sides at 90 hertz. We have a multiband compressor, just compressing 4 bands. We have a low band, a mid-low band, a mid-high band, and a high band. And it's pretty much 6.457. I think Virtual Riot Renasco showed us this on one of their streams, so I kind of went along with it, and it works pretty well. Kilohertz stereo, just to give it some more width, because more width is more volume. This is this little cool thing called sub or bright, and basically just like does this according to this little macro thing I have set. If I feel like things are too sub heavy, I boost it like here. I feel like there's too much brightness on a sub, I do this. But usually you keep it where it is. It's usually not too necessary. A little dynamic EQ around 2.5K just because it gets a little bit hot in that section. And either a straight up clipper, this is M Saturator, it's literally just like Pro L if you put it on clipping mode, or soft clip, or the invisible limiter, depending what kind of song it is. If it's an aggressive song like this, I sometimes turn on the invisible limiter under the saturator, so the saturator is not working. And then I turn off the invisible limiter so it goes straight into the actual clipper around the drops. So that the drops get the intensity, but maybe if we have like a vocal in the breakdown, it doesn't ruin it with flippy artifacts. And we are not producing with a master at all. Actually, we try to keep it off as much as possible, because when you have your master on, you're kind of working under a master, so things work with the master. You don't want to adjust your mix for the master per se. You want to make sure that everything sounds all good before it gets into the master, because as I mentioned earlier in the stream, a good mix is a lot better than having a bad mix and a good master. You want to make sure that you have a good mix and that you don't skimp out on, like, you don't want to, there's no shortcut. Just make sure everything sounds good going into the master, and the master will reward you with a nice loud track.
Yeah, I'm almost done. Like 2 minutes.
For
sure. I gotta run pretty soon. I think we're just about. Or wait, was it till 8:45?
I believe.
Or 8:30? No, it's supposed to be 2:45 minutes, right?
Yeah, 2:45 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, are we, Alex? Are we wrapping up here, or what's good?
Are we? We started at 7 o'clock. Alex, let us know if we're going too much above time. Yeah, typically not a good idea to work under a master, because then you're literally just mixing under a master, and it can skew the final mix.
Yeah.
I guess I'll keep going.
Would love to, but I gotta say what's up to some people that are like at my house right now. But I was gonna say quickly, if you haven't, we're almost sold out on our merch. So
shameless plug.
Go check it out. We're after we sell out, we are going to re-up and then come back with some even more goodies in a couple weeks. Pixel Pals. We got a Pixel Pals coming hopefully in July at some point. And yeah, go check out Sandstorm if you haven't already. It came out today. Should be out everywhere. And follow us on TikTok.
Don't follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram first. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Alex, for the opportunity to live stream and showcase 2 of our songs. We're glad you guys learned a lot. We're happy to answer your questions. And Bentley, you got a shout out apple cider vinegar real quick.
Oh shit. Okay.
Bentley's gonna get the apple cider vinegar. He didn't even hesitate. But yeah, guys, we typically do some streams. I don't think we go this in depth, so it was definitely a good move being on Defire for the project breakdowns. We definitely like to have some Twitch hangouts and do some production in front of you guys too. So if you guys want to watch us on Twitch, also ask us any questions. Feel free to DM us on Instagram or mention us on Twitter if you guys have any other questions. But other than that, thank you so much for watching us. Super fun. Waiting for Bentley to bring back the apple cider vinegar.
Right here, baby.
Right here. Nothing quite like a little.
I'm waiting for my ghost me to appear on the screen. It's just like 20 seconds of lag.
I think it's 20 seconds.
All right. There's nothing quite like a little apple cider vinegar, baby.
I don't know how the hell you drink that. That shit's nasty.
Woo.
I don't know how he does it. All right, guys.
Thanks, y'all.
Have a good night, and thank you so much for having us. Bye, guys.
Take care.